Blacks in technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Hey Bit community, welcome to the Bit Tech Talk podcast. On this episode, Greg speaks with cybersecurity expert Malik Girondin. They'll discuss Malik's journey from a customer service rep in the retail space to a tech working in a network operations center before ultimately becoming a cybersecurity expert and teacher. Malik has also obtained a bachelor's degree in business administration with a specialization in information technology management from Western Governors University, along with many additional certifications. And now the host of the Bit Tech Talk podcast, our founder of Blacks in Technology, Greg Greenlee.
Hey Malik, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, nice to meet you, Greg.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your education, your background.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Malik Girondin, young male, early 20s. And yeah, I'm just ready to conquer the world, Came into this world with nothing, just a name, pretty much at birth. That was it. So I just had to build from zero to now. And so that's pretty much who I am. I love studying, love learning, and just love self-improvement. Now, my educational background, I did graduate high school back in 2017 and recently graduated college from Western Governors University in 2023 with a Bachelor's of Science, Business Administration, Information Technology Management degree. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. And yeah, my education and my personality thus far.
Very cool, very cool. And congrats on graduating. Big accomplishment.
Nice, appreciate it, man.
Tell us, how did you first become interested in tech? And then even more specifically, cybersecurity?
Yeah, good question. I mean, even when I was younger, I didn't really find computers too fascinating. I mean, I played video games. That was pretty much it.
Right.
But my interest in tech really sparked during the Colonial Pipeline incident that took place, I believe, God, it's been a while, May 2021. Been a long time. When I was a cashier at Walgreens, that incident solely really opened my eyes like, wow, you could do this with technology? This is unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. And that event led to me immersing in cybersecurity, the people who defend organizations and clients against attacks like that. So that's what really, really got me into cybersecurity and IT in general, that one attack.
Wow. So nothing previous to that besides video games or no mentors along the way to say, hey, get into it. Was just that one moment, huh?
That one moment. Trust me, like prior to now, I didn't really take life serious. I'm going to be honest. I just played games all day, went to school. That was it. Repick. I was in a loop, to be honest. But if it wasn't for that attack, which really sparked me on my grind to really focus on my career and get in cybersecurity and then make myself a better individual, I'll probably be doing the same thing. So yeah. Thank you, hackers. I don't know, but no.
Right. Tell me, what was it about that particular incident? Like what triggered you emotionally, or motivated you to, say, hey, like I want to do this?
Yeah. So as a cashier, I'm always greeting, I'm always talking to my customers. I've been there for 4 years. I was very, very talkative. And then just one day, everyone just started panicking and freaking out. Oh my God, Malik, you saw what happened? What happened? Gas prices going up. I can't afford it. What? We got hacked. East Florida got hacked. What? Everyone was talking about it. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I told my shift lead on duty at that moment. I'm like, yo, do you know what this is? Like, what? Yeah, dude, it's a cybersecurity attack. I'm like, yeah. Well, what is it? Well, hackers do this stuff and all that stuff. That's why I'm going to school to study and become a cybersecurity expert. I'm like, well, okay, I want to study too. I didn't have money to afford college. He's like, look into your CompTIA trifecta. All right. And then from there, the rabbit hole began. Went on YouTube and just started binge watching big names in the field. So that's really how it started. That's
Wow.
really, yeah.
That's pretty extraordinary, actually. Because, and this is, normally, people within other cultures, I should say, they have that person they can look up to. They have that mentor, that teacher, They have that early exposure to technology that kind of sets them on their way. What I like about your story is that it's going to resonate with people because not everyone has that early exposure. Not everyone has that mentor. Not everyone, has that type of background, early exposure and that background of technology. And you're a testament that you can get started later in life if you want to. It's all about how much dedication you want to put into it. And it really only takes one moment, right? Like, hey, I'm decided I want to do this. I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to be motivated. I'm going to be a self starter and I'm going to go at it. And that's what I really like about your story is that you did it and you're a living testament as to what you can do when you put your mind to getting into this field and studying. And you kind of touched on working in customer service. So early in your career it sounds like you worked at a couple of different customer service jobs. What skills were you able to kind of bring over into your tech career from those jobs?
Yeah, so I worked at Walgreens for 4 years as a customer service associate, and then my second customer service job was at Health Trust as a customer service associate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those skills, or I should say, those jobs, I learned many skills. Starting off with Walgreens, just communication. Again, I
Right.
mentioned having that nerdy gamer background. I didn't really go outside. I was allergic to the sun. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stay in this cave. I'm not gonna meet humans and stuff like that. I'd rather type via Discord and stuff like that. But no, when I became a cashier, I had to meet the people face to face. I had to see people in real life. So it taught me
Yeah.
communication skills. It also taught me sympathy because I'll have customers come in. They'll try to afford some food for their children, and hey, I don't got it.
Wow.
I'm $1 off. Can you let me slide? Can you give me a discount? I had to
Yeah.
learn about sympathy. At first I'm like, oh, I don't know, should I do this? But eventually, I'm like, you know what? Don't tell Walgreens that. But no, no. I learned sympathy, communication, and stuff like that, and just really learning the main thing other than communication, really understanding people's culture. I met many clients, many people from China, Africa, all over the world, and they'll tell me stories. Hey, back in
Wow.
my home country, we did this. What? Wait, you guys don't use spoons or fork? No, we use chopsticks. Oh my god, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So that was Walgreens up front. Health Trust really taught me about the work from home culture. It was a work from home position. That was my next
Okay.
position after Walgreens. So I really learned about work from home. It was a different era. I didn't have to Lyft or Uber to work anymore. And
Yeah.
just really getting that work from home step, learning how to communicate via WebEx, Teams, and stuff like that, not face to face. It was a different change. It was a
Yeah.
different change. But
Yeah.
I learned more about how to pick up digital cues. Okay, if somebody's using an emoji, because when you type during text, that's lean communication compared to rich communication face to face. So how can I become show sarcasm, or how can I show gesture over text? Emojis, all right, certain
Yeah.
phrase quotation, /s. And so I had to really learn the lingo when it comes to communication via text and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, those skills, how it translates to cyber now, I'm becoming like an evangelist. I right now, hopefully we'll talk about it. Teach students on the side, talk to many people about cybersecurity, text, I'm in multiple Discord chats, writing articles, building courses. All that comes from my prior skills in customer service. Really learning how to communicate. People think communication is just voice. Not only that, it's text as well too. But yeah, that's pretty much my how those two experience helped me out in my field.
So what it sounds like, your first tech job was in a knock. And for those who don't know, I'll let you kind of explain what knock is. And then tell us about, kind of how did you land that job and what did you do to prepare yourself for that position?
Yeah, so a knock. Yeah, just let me know if I cut out again. But yeah, knock it stands for Network Operations Center. Pretty much a place where professionals are there to monitor the network, either for the internal company or for external company clients. So pretty much what I did from a day to day basis, we had a ticketing system where we check clients to make sure their network is up or down. And if they're down, we would troubleshoot. We had like
Hmm.
a troubleshooting guide, did all that stuff. So basic knock stuff, making sure the network's up and running. What I did to land that job, surprisingly, I got my Net Plus literally 2 months prior. I believe in April 2023. Got my Net Plus. I study a lot for the CCNA. Never tested out, but study stuff like German IT Lab, Neil Anderson, CCNA Boot Camp. Watch a lot of network trucks. So I really got my network game up. It was an intimidating topic for me entering cybersecurity. So I got my network game up. Launched that was after I got the knock job, but did a lot of projects building knock templates and guides and knock courses and stuff like that. And it really sold me on that job. It really got me the job. I even the hiring manager, I still remember his name to this day. Shout out to him, Patrick Blackburn. He said, "Yo, when I heard you in that interview, your passion and drive, I was sold. I was presented
Wow.
with the offer letter literally an hour after." So that's what led me to my first knock job.
That's dope. I'll say this, like that sounds similar to kind of like how I got my first, I would say, real IT job. I did help desk for a number of years before I actually landed in a network technician job, right? And similar to you, got my Network Plus. I eventually got my CCNA, but I was just kind of just studying Cisco, the CCNA material. And so my first job, my interviewer caught on to or latched on to the fact that I sounded very passionate and just motivated to get in there and really learn and grow. And one of the biggest things, and I tell people this all the time, and I don't know how relevant it is now. This was years ago. Just having a lab and working in your lab. I had actual like physical equipment, so I had like Cisco routers, Cisco switches, all hooked up and things like that. I did have a simulator that I used back then, but I had a lot of just like physical equipment. Nowadays, you don't need physical equipment. They have simulators that are pretty good, but I use that to teach myself and learn. And it sounds like you kind of had that similar path. We move on to you being a security analyst at Ring Central. Tell us about your time at Ring Central. What were some of your responsibilities there?
Yeah. So yeah, Ring Central, it was my first security analyst internship. My main responsibilities under the team of Alex Locke, that was the security manager at that time, was to again monitor the network, look into our ticketing system, which I believe was, I forgot the name, I think it was Fresh Service, something like that. Look into
Mm-hmm.
our ticketing system, make sure we have alerts and we're making action steps on our alert. We look through Splunks for any anomalies, any weird, type of questionable things. And
Mm-hmm.
mainly what Alex had us do, we'll go through the Splunk logs, not Splunk logs, sorry. We'll go through the CrowdStrike detection information and try to build a story around it. All right, okay,
Hmm.
this was flagged, but why was it flagged? What was the end user trying to reach? Why was he trying to reach it? Build stories around it. Can you parallel it with real life scenarios in the world? So he really taught me how to really think critically and ethically instead of just clicking and pointing as most SOCs do. Oh, that's an alert. Okay. No, he really taught me to dig deeper. So that internship was not only did I did that, I was in a group called BEAR, which
Mm-hmm.
stands for Black Employees at Ring Central. So I was very lively
Nice.
in that group chat. So we did a lot of community type stuff. I worked on man, we worked on a lot of stuff. Great memories over there. We worked on I did like a Black Lives Matter. Was it Black Lives? No. It was a Black History Month live stream for Ring Central employees. It was over 100 viewers, and this is when the internship finished. This is 2023. The internet's finished, and I was still being I had still had access to do that stream and stuff like that. So yeah, Ring Central was great. Love my experience there. Shout out to everybody there, and yeah, really played a pivotal role in my cybersecurity career.
Wow. And what's striking to me is that it sounds like you did all this in a relatively short period of time. When you're talking, a few months ago, right?
Yeah, yeah, all a few
Wow.
months ago. Really, yeah, 10. I think I got my first knock job. Actually, I do know when I got my first knock job. It was June 6, 2022.
Okay.
That's when I got my first knock job. So literally like 13 months ago.
Right. Right. Very cool. So, what are some other cool projects and things that just what were you able to kind of glean from working at Ring Central?
Yeah, first thing is a huge company. We had this something. We had an app, or we have an app called Ring Central. It was formerly called Glip. And what I
Okay.
gleaned from Glip, it's kind of like a Discord. It's kind of like a Slack. There's multiple channels. So we had like a gamer
Right.
channel, tech channel, security channel. And this is the thing I gleaned from, especially from the security channel. And I won't say any names. When it came to cybersecurity, there was many professionals dealing with attrition. They were dealing with burnout. And it
Mm,
was such a touchy topic that when I would talk about it, I would get, taken to the side, like in a DM because it was remote. Hey,
right.
Malik, you shouldn't talk about that. We just had somebody leave today because of that. I'm like, what? So burnout was so touchy, we couldn't even really bring it out in the chat like that. And that's the hidden thing
Wow.
we really don't talk about with cybersecurity professionals. Yeah, it's a rewarding, lucrative career, but what about the professionals that are burnt out? What
Yeah.
about the one man stock guys? What about the security engineers who are doing it all by themselves? What about them? No one thinks about them. And then when they leave, they get stressed out. We're like, oh my God, what happened? What happened to John? He just left. So that was one thing I really noticed when it came to the security. I'll be honest, the security team was fairly small for a
Right.
big company. It was only 4 U.S. employees, which I thought was interesting at the time.
Mm,
Myself, the other intern, and the two one manager and a senior. I'm like, hey, this is kind of strange for the
interesting.
U.S. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Okay, so then you kind of moved on to or you did move on to a company called Blackhawk Data, and you were a SOC analyst, SOC analyst. Tell us first, like what's SOC stand for, and then tell us about the monitoring of computer networks. There, it sounds like you monitor computer networks for security issues, and like tell us about some of the tools that you were using to accomplish that.
Yeah. So yeah, that I joined that company. Yeah, relatively the same time. SOC stands for Security Operations Center. When people think
Mm,
about this, oh, we're in a big room with screens all over the place. Technically, no. You're just in front of a ticketing system, or and you just have a dashboard. But the thing with that employment, which I thought was interesting, I was playing with a lot of tools. So tools I was playing with Darktrace, which is an underrated AI cybersecurity tool, which could detect again anomalies and strange patterns. Like I'll give you an example. We had clients based in like Zurich and all over the country. Let's say
mhm,
they were to log in at a strange time. They usually log in, let's say, at 9 a.m. Eastern time. If they
right.
logged in from a strange time or even a strange location, Darktrace will pick that up, lock their account, and flag them, and it'll create a
Mm,
ticket for us. I'm like, wow, this tool's crazy. So I had a chance to play with Darktrace, obviously play with the CrowdStrike Falcon, played around with that, looking for we could sandbox detonate any malware malicious tools. Other tools we use, man. Oh, how can I forget this tool? We had a tool called Royal, which is a tool. It's kind of like putty on crack. So you basically have access to multiple terminal sessions in just live, real time, GUI and terminal. So I'm able
oh,
to connect with multiple computers and just jump between them. Very interesting tool. So we had Royal. Obviously, we used LastPass for password management.
right.
We had a tool called Duo. I had admin rights to Duo. So let's say employees needed to enroll in two-factor authentication. I will enroll them. Hey, what phone do you want to be? Okay, your iPhone 6. Got you. All right, don't forget to click. Don't forget, do not get hit with an MFA fatigue attack. So if you're getting pounded with alerts and you're not summoning those alerts, do not click it. So we play with a lot of tools at that company. I was kind of wearing multiple hats. So not only doing the SOC, I guess the last tool I'll bring out, Silver Sky, which is a
Hmm.
third party SOC. So I had a SOC because I was the only SOC analyst at that company, the only one,
Okay.
the first and only one. So we had an external SOC help us out called Silver Sky, and they will help us out with a ticket. And I was very close with them. Shout out to David. I don't know if you still remember me, but I was still close with David, the Silver Sky account manager. And yeah, we were just going bouncing off ideas, investigating alerts together. Very interesting company. I had my fair chance to deal with multiple clients from the finance sectors. We had a client that worked in the hospital sector, and we had a client that from it was like a college client, all based in New York. Oh, well, two of them were based in New York. So very interesting. Play with a lot of tools and really increased my game up when it came to cybersecurity.
It sounds like it. Like I'm listening to you now, and it sounds like you've been in cybersecurity forever. And I say that because I know. Look, I've been in tech for over 20 years.
Mm,
I actually started out hanging out with a lot of hackers, a lot of guys who were in information security, and I still know to this day. We used to go to all these different, tech conferences, information security conferences, like Freaknik down in Tennessee. We used to go to. There was one called Nauticon up in Cleveland. I don't know if that's still going on. There was one called DerbyCon here down in Louisville, Kentucky. We used to go to quite a few of them all around the country. And you sound like you've you've been in this, so I know the lingo. I guess is what I'm trying to
mm.
say. I know the lingo. I've been around the block, so you sound very, very into it, and you sound like a veteran. So you must
Appreciate
be you must be doing something right, man.
it.
BIT is always focused on forming new partnerships and opportunities to assist the community and our members with their continued professional growth and development. If you'd like to partner with us, send an email, inquiries@blacksandtechnology.net.
So tell me a little bit about what was your method for investigating security breaches while you were at Blackhawk Data?
Yeah, great method. So I'll talk about a scenario that is funny and I still talk about today. So we had this. So the method we have Zendesk. That was our ticketing system. If an employee, we go. So we might get alerts from Silver Sky. They're our third party SOC that will investigate the alert. So okay, let me start from over because it's really complicated. Darktrace. Going back to Darktrace. Darktrace was installed on everybody's. It was monitoring everybody's computer. This is for one employee or company. Mm-hmm. If an anomaly happens or something crazy happens, Darktrace would trigger an alert that goes into Silver Sky platform. Silver Sky would then investigate the alert, summarize the incident, and then send us an email via ticket to our Zendesk platform. If that makes sense. Right. So then when I get it, there's already a summary for the alert. I already kind of know what to do, but I'm there to investigate it and provide remediations. So my troubleshooting methodology, and I'll bring it up with this scenario. We had this one client. This was for the financial sector client. He was on the corporate network on his personal phone. Like, okay, whatever, cool. The guy went on a site called Ashley Madison. Keep in mind, he's married with kids. So he went on that site. Obviously, Darktrace flagged it as a strange site. So when I got the ticket from Silver Sky to Zendesk, I looked at it. I'm like, strange site. Let me see what the site was. The URL pointed to Ashley Madison. Went on the homepage, obviously through a VM or a false browser. Want to have an affair? I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Potentially that could lead to malware. We don't know where he could potentially be talking to a woman. We don't know. So what I did, I crafted an email very nicely to his supervisor. Hey, this dude and his employee, he's on the corporate network on Ashley Madison. You mind if you get him off or something? What's going on? They ended up contacting him, mass email across the whole company. Crazy. I was even tagged in it. And they're like, yeah, John, can you now watch it on the corporate network? Just go on the guest network if you want to watch it. Oh, what are you talking about? I wasn't watching anything. He was acting kind of dumb. And he ended up switching to the guest network and watching it. So that was kind of my methodology. I would get the ticket. I would investigate it. And the ticket will have the email for the client or for the individual being tagged in that alert. I will either message the client or message their supervisor, and we could get down. So that was one type of ticket. Another type of ticket, as I mentioned, when it comes to strange logins. So this is one of my favorites. So let's say we have a client based in Zurich. Darktrace flagged them for logging into Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm like, okay, hold on. There could be two reasons this could be happening. Either his account was hijacked and the hackers actually logging in from a Nevada IP, or he's traveling. I will email the client. Hey, Justin, what's going on? You've been flagged for this. Are you traveling? Yeah, I'm in Black Hat 2022, bro. Is there an issue? Okay, no, I was just wondering. Sorry. So you have this, yeah. So there's many things you'll see in the SOC and stuff like that. And I really enjoy every day waking up and just saying, oh, that's happening. This is happening. Let's investigate. So yeah.
Nice. And so you go from, Blackhawk Data to Security Blue Team as a junior defensive content engineer. Tell us, and I think a correlation one is a teaching assistant in cybersecurity. So we're going to start off with the defensive content engineer. What is that exactly?
So content engineer, this is a relatively new role within cybersecurity that it's quite booming. You see a lot of companies like TryHackMe, Hack the Box, they're building out these job roles. So content engineer, we can look at the word engineer content. You're building content. You're building labs. You're building platforms. You're building scenarios. You're building training material for students to consume and learn. So pretty much a content engineer when it comes to cybersecurity, you're the instructor. We all use TryHackMe and Hack the Box. How do these guys develop the labs? How do they develop the boxes? That's us. That's me. So I'm the one developing these challenges for students to get their cybersecurity skills up and practice. Not in real life, but through a gamified version so no one's getting hurt. It's through a safe VM. You don't even have to use your own machine. That's a content engineer. And again, it's one of my favorite roles. I love it. We could talk about Security Blue Team. They're a UK-based company. What's funny about Security Blue Team, I actually got their certification back in August 2022 called the BTL1. So the BTO1 really helped skyrocketed my career in cybersecurity because it taught me those hands-on tools to survive in those roles at Blackhawk and Ring Central. So it's ironic that I passed their certification and now I'm working for them and building out new certifications that will be coming out soon. So yeah, not only do we develop labs, we develop blogs. We're actually working on a podcast right now. We're going to do podcasts and stuff like that. Building out materials, training, all that stuff. We do Discord support. So if students have inquiries, I'm on Discord. I help them out. Hey, is BTM1 right for me? Or I have an issue with this lab question. I don't think that's the right answer. It says UDP, but I think it's TCP. Don't worry, we'll fix that. So that's content engineer. But even prior to this, you brought up Correlation 1. I was Black Girls Hack. That was my really first employment after the Blackhawk thing. I was a teaching instructor. Actually, believe it or not, I just came from a teaching lesson just now with my students. I had to tell them, hey, I got to cut it short. I got a podcast with Greg. So yeah, I've been doing that.
I feel special now.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah, I've been doing that for the past 4 months. So shout out to Black Girls Hack for those. Actually, before I even get to Black Girls Hack, how did I even get to knowing a Black Girls Hack? It all started with Michelle Schultz. Shout out to her. I signed up for a program called Converge Mentorship Program.
So Michelle Schultz is she works for Blacks in Technology Foundation.
Yeah, sir.
So Converge Mentorship is actually our mentorship program that we have in partnership with Microsoft. Yeah, that's small world, man. So it sounds like you have benefited from, which is cool because I had no idea. But it sounds like you've benefited from one of the programs that we put together in helping you in your career. So that's dope, man.
Heck yeah, that thing came in clutch. Like I was seeking mentorship. I was lost. Yeah. Okay, I'm starting cyber. I need help. Sign up for the fill out the form.
Yeah.
So contacted me. Hey, you made it to the final round. I'm gonna pair you up with a cybersecurity specialist. It turns out the first one was Tanisha Martin, the CEO of Black Girls Hack. Okay. And when I first had my interview call with her on March, 15 minutes throughout the call, she's like, "Stop. You know what? I want you to work for me as a teaching instructor. You're amazing. You can speak. You got projects, portfolio, home labs. I want you." And ever since then, I've been closely related to them. Now we're doing big things. Speaking of conferences, I'm gonna be flying out to SquadCon. In 2 weeks. I'm gonna be teaching at I have my own show for SquadCon. We're gonna be teaching about content engineer. Just going to Black Hat as well. So shout out to Tanisha Markin and Black Girls Hack, really putting me on the map on that. So want to give them proper plays. But yeah, it started off with that, and then Correlation 1, which is another teaching company I teach for. Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you about this one. So we have over 500 students. They're all Amazon warehouse workers at the company. All Amazon warehouse workers trying to get into cybersecurity. Now Amazon has a partnership with Correlation 1. So this is where the cybersecurity career program comes into play. They pay for all the students, or fellows we call them, and they don't have to pay. It's a $5,000 program. They have to pay zero. It all comes free. Now I'm tasked with helping them learn cybersecurity. I just had a call with a student. She's from China. And she was like, "Yo, I don't understand Linux. So I have to help. I'm teaching students from different backgrounds. Yeah. Hey, what's a Linus? No, that's Linux. So I gotta teach them. Doing assignments, grading assignments. Oh my god, I got an F here. Can you help? So that's that. Doing that. Do that like 6 hours a week. It's amazing. Which led me to Security Blue Team, the UK company. How did I get that position? It was a global position. I had to compete for it. I already had a portfolio of building content, teaching students, and I had the BTO1. So it was a no-brainer that, hey, I'm a great candidate for this role. And going back to the question about content engineering, it really links up to all my previous professions, being in a SOC analyst, teaching now content engineering, I'm developing learning materials for students with that educational background. So content engineer is the way to go. And that's the new cybersecurity career, hands down.
Very cool. Very cool. What's up, everyone? We hope that you're enjoying this episode of the Blacks in Technology Big Tech Talk podcast. Do you or someone you know have a dope story that they want to share with our BIT audience? Blacks in Technology is seeking guests to be on our podcast. We're looking to highlight the journeys and experiences of Black women and men in the tech industry. So if you know of someone, send them our way. Shoot us an email to contact us at blacksintechnology.net or click on the link in the show notes and fill out our form. We're looking to hear from you. man, I tell you what, I can tell right now that this is going to be like a highly viewed episode. Like your energy, like you're inspiring. And I think when people hear this, especially people looking to get into cybersecurity, they're going to be inspired. The way that you talk about it, you can hear the passion, you can hear the motivation in your voice, and it's something that it's refreshing. And considering that you've only really been at this for what a little bit over a year, like that's extraordinary to me. Like you've accomplished so much already. I think because there's a lot of people out there that want to get into cybersecurity and they're taking their first steps, right? But to be as accomplished as you are in such a short amount of time takes a level of dedication that I think people will latch on to. So we'll get into like your advice for people here in a little bit, so that they can kind of hear from you, kind of some of the things that you would advise them to do to get at the level that you're at. Going back to you being a teacher assistant, what were some of the common problems like that you assisted students with?
Oh, yeah. So great. That's a great question.
And
So
I
common.
know you mentioned Linux, which that's another thing. Like I have people all the time that are hitting me up and through emails saying, "Hey, I want to get into cybersecurity. Where do I start? What do I need to learn? That type of thing." And one of the things that I always mention is Linux, and it's people struggle with Linux because they're so used to Windows, right? They're
Mm,
so used to the point and click and everything of that Linux. If you and this, I don't know how old school I'm going to sound when I say this, but when I used to hang with the hackers, you had to know Linux,
damn.
right? It was imperative that you knew Linux. That's how I learned Linux, from hanging out with these guys, because that's where everything, the command line, all that stuff. So anytime someone asks me, I say, "Hey, you need to learn Linux, and not the GUI. You need to learn the command line."
Mm.
So I know you mentioned that. Tell us some other things that you kind of help students with as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned hackers. I just want to give a moment of silence for Kevin McNick, recently
Yeah,
passed.
yeah, I
Recently,
heard
man,
about that.
legendary. So flowers out to Kevin McNick and his family. Legend for that one.
Yeah.
But going to questions or inquiries my students have or troubles they have, let's talk about hardware. Guys, I have a
Mhm.
Chromebook. I have a tablet. Can I run a VM on my tablet? I mean, come on, guys. Are you serious? Get a basic computer. I don't care if it's a desktop or I'm using a Mac 2020. I've been doing all this off of Mac. Well,
Yeah.
on Mac, you have the M1 chip, the ARM. You can't run a hypervisor. You can. You can use Parallel, which is a popular hypervisor for Mac. So that's another way to spin up VMs. If not, you could do AWS, spin up VMs on there, RDP into it, bam. There's no excuses. So a lot of students will come to me with hardware issues. It's not really hardware, and plus the assignments we're doing them through browser-based labs.
Yeah.
I mean, are you serious? So you don't have to worry about space. You just need great internet connection and some good RAM. So I have hardware issue connection. Time. This is another one. And students, I'm telling, I'm to the point where my students are getting me time. I'm like, I'm running out of time. I don't have time to study. What do you mean you don't have time to study? We have 24 hours a day. You got 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to work. What are you spending your last 8 hours on? Well, I'm on
Right.
Threads. You're on Threads? Are you serious, guys? I mean, you have time. You're just not utilizing your time efficiently. We all have time to study, even if it's 10 minutes at Linux a day. That will take you far than doing 0 minutes. So
Yes.
time's another factor. Another one students might have is focus. Yes, we live in a digitalized society. Shout out to Cal Newport. He has a book called Digital Minimalism. And this is the thing a lot of people face with. Hey, I'm just too distracted. That's many things online. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm learning about cybersecurity. I'm protecting the network, but I'm also distracted by what's on the network. Well, that's where this, and we're going to talk about that later on. Advice. We're going to talk about discipline to keep you on focus. But those are the main concerns I really have. Another thing I'm seeing a lot, some students are not mature. Yes, you may be 30, 40 chronologically, but mentally you're 14.
Mm.
I see. Oh, the cat command. Oh, cat ears. Oh my god, the cat. I have a cat. Guys, stop. I mean, what are we doing? We need to grow up. We need to take our career seriously. All right. So when a teacher's teaching you something or giving you instructions, it's like hearken to it. Yes, we could joke and meme later and stuff like that, but you need to hearken to what the instructor's teaching you. All right, and because I go on, I know what this when it comes to learning materials. There's multiple ways to learn. Students learn best through books. So students ask me, "Hey, what are some great books for Security Plus or this?" Oh, you could get Exam Cram. You could get that. Well, okay, I'm not a book guy. I'm more of an auditorial learner. Okay, no problem. You can listen to this podcast. You can
Yeah.
listen to Professor Messer. Well, I'm blind. You got anything in Braille? Oh my god. So there's many things. There's many things students have excuses. Students have excuses, but the one thing I tell my students: there's no deficiency you cannot overcome. If there is a way, you need to utilize it. Stop making excuses, and you can succeed. So yeah.
Wow.
Do you have a product or service that you would like to share with the BIT audience? Or maybe you'd like to support the BIT community and do your part in helping us with stomping the divide? Start by sponsoring one of our podcasts. Please email us at contactus@blacksandtechnology.net.
Bravo, man. Bravo. And you mentioned Cal Newport. There's a couple of books that I have by Cal Newport, who's a great author in what he writes about. There's one called Deep Work, and there's another one called So Good They Can't Ignore You.
Yeah.
Those are another two great books that will teach you about deep work, about focusing, about how to really kind of focus in today's digital society. Like, just, and like you said, all it takes is 10 minutes. Like, people feel, and I hear this a lot. They say, hey, I need to study 3 or 4 hours. No, you don't need to study 3 or 4 hours in a day. Like, you're going to burn out. Like, you're not equipped really to do that type of learning, especially today. Like, there's just too much going on. So you need to break that down, right? Break it down in a half-hour chunks. Like, if you want to do an hour, or let's just say 2 hours, break it down in half-hour chunks, right?
Right.
When you chunk things like that, you retain more of the information. Studies show, like, after a while, if you go at it for 4 hours, like after probably an hour or so, you lose focus. Like, you don't even really start to continue to retain information. So break it down into chunks so that you kind of retain, because there's learning the information or reading about it, and then there's recall, right? And recall is the biggest thing. Kind of it's spaced learning, recall, that type of thing is really what's going to reinforce the material that you learn. And Cal Newport talks about those things. He talks about deep focus. He talks about getting rid of distractions, and he talks about one thing, which is being good at your job doesn't require that you are passionate about it, because what he states is that there's a lot of examples out there where people are saying, oh, go after something you're passionate about, right? But what they don't have is they don't have what they consider, I can't remember the exact term, but it's like a capital. Like, they don't have the actual knowledge capital that it takes to actually pursue what they're passionate about. So, for example, a person who may take some yoga classes. Oh man, I really like yoga. I'm really passionate about yoga. I think I'm going to open up my own yoga studio. Well, they don't have that work capital to open it up, right? Like, just because you take a course in it doesn't mean that you have the network, that you have the deep knowledge that it really takes to run a yoga studio, right? So he gives that example of somebody who actually done it and they failed. And he says, people have it backwards. You can get into a job and become so good at that job that becomes a passion, right? That becomes something that you're passionate about. So he talks a lot about that. Not saying that you can't be passionate and succeed in something that you're passionate about. He's not saying that at all. He's saying that he feels that people who just say go, pursue your passion and you'll be, that it's not true. But he talks a lot about, focus. I mentioned that and things like that. He's a really, really good author. And kind of surprised to hear you talk about that, because I only know a few people who know about him as an author. So that's pretty cool. If you were a professor of cybersecurity, we're going back to you being a teaching assistant. What would you and also taking to consideration kind of like your journey in cybersecurity, how you learn, taking things that you felt were like dead ends or that's not the best way, or what would you do differently to teach cybersecurity to other students?
Yeah, so if I was a professor, my lectures will go as obviously they'll be more instructor based, instructor led. So there's a difference between having an instructor live training course and I believe they call it a self not self study but self paced course. A
Right,
self
right,
paced course will be a student pursuing it on his own, but with self paced you can ask the instructor in live real time.
right.
So I'll teach more live lectures and that
Mhm.
way. And with live lectures, what I will do, not only would I teach theory, I will teach practice. I will teach actual implementation. So if I
Mhm.
talk about cat, Linux, whatever, all these commands, I will actually demonstrate it to the students live and then have them run it at the same time.
Right.
Hey, Samantha, are you facing issues? Yeah, I'm running my cat. I did it. Okay, Bob, can you run the test command and create a file called hi.txt? Yeah, I just did it. Cool. I will verify with my students. Hey, are you guys getting it? Getting it? Did you do it? Great. Because what I see with most instructors, they'll teach super fast.
Yeah.
They don't check with their students that if they caught up. And by the end of the lecture, you guys follow along? No, I got lost 20 minutes. I got lost an hour ago. You know,
Right.
I see that. So I'm like, you know what? I gotta change the game. When I do want to become a professor, I gotta change the game. And another thing about that, when it comes to cybersecurity professors or instructors, there's not that many qualified to teach. You could go on
Mm.
Reddit right now, and you could go on Reddit, and they're talking about it. Man, my cybersecurity instructor, he's not teaching me crap.
Wow.
He's teaching me Windows 7. I mean, we've been past that. So a lot of these instructors that's why I'm a huge advocate for SANS because their
Mm.
instructors have to be in the field. They have a strict requirement to be in the field. I'm actually going through a SANS course right now, the GIAC GFAC, and I got 2 other certifications I'm going through, all paid for. Shout out to Black Girls Hat because I won a SANS scholarship. I'm going through their course. And I'm saying, okay, that's truly how an instructor is supposed to be like. They teach auditorial lessons. They have written lectures as well. They have a
Mhm.
book to go along with it, and they have virtual labs, all 4. So I want
Wow.
students to have all of that combination. I want them to have access to all ways of learning. Yes, that's going to be hard on the instructor, but it's going to be best for the student at the end of the day. So that's how I'll teach a class. Make it more interactive. Hey guys, did you get
Right.
it? If you guys have questions, please put it in the Slack channel. Please put it in the Discord, and I'll get to it.
And I asked that question because I run across let's just take coding for example. I run across videos of people who uh, they'll create a video that says this is how I would have taught coding. If I could go back in time, this is kind of how I would have learned or how I would have taught someone. Because some of the teaching mechanisms nowadays are just not adequate, especially when it comes to digital society and as far as like our attention span, right? And people, I would say, they teach a lot of theory on things and they don't give people real world scenarios on how it's to be applied, and they lose people in that. Right? Theory is I mean, it's good to know the theory side. I'm not saying anything about that, but it's kind of ethereal, right? Like you can't grasp it. You
Mhm.
can't see it, right? It's just out there. You kind of have to have like, more context behind it in order for it to really make sense. And I found out that with like networking, for instance, right? Like when it comes to teaching somebody about IP addressing and ports, things like that. Like people hear these things, it's like you can't see ports, right? Like you can't see. And so I remember a scenario where I was teaching a group of young ladies who were coming out of this course, this intro to technology course about networking and IP and things like that. So in order for them to kind of visualize like what an IP address is, what a port is, the OSI layer. Like I fired up Wireshark, right? Send some
Mhm.
packets through it, right? And show them on the screen what this traffic looks like, right? And Oh, here's layer 3 right here. So you can see the IP address. Here's layer 4. This is the actual TCP, right? That all that stuff, right? I broke it down for them. Here's the MAC address in layer 2, so they could see this and put it together instead of just listening to theory about what it is, right? Sometimes people are visual, and that doesn't make sense. So I see that, and I hear what you're saying, and I'm like, right on, because that's exactly what the type of teaching I think people need. Let's talk a little bit about Black Girls Hack. We heard how you got involved with Black Girls Hack, but talk a little bit about like what your curriculum is like.
Yeah, at Black Girls Hack, I teach 2 classes weekly, 1 hour and a half each. I teach network basics, so I teach students the importance of networking, the TCPs, the UDPs, the port, and all that stuff. But I also bring out real examples. Why networking is important. Even this class, this podcast is via networking. How am I able to talk with somebody in real time and they're miles away? That's networking. But what goes what's the underlying factor to that? That's where we get deep into it. I had my students, download Cisco Packet Tracer. We actually did a lab last week. Hey guys, I want you to make a star topology now. Star. Now make a buzz. Buzz. So I have my students practice and stuff like that, so they could get their hands-on, practice, and it's not just theory. So that's that course. I do teach a course. It's titled Ethical Hacking, but it's really a cybersecurity course. So I teach students about the basics of cybersecurity. Today's lesson, actually an hour ago, was about APT. Advanced persistent threats. Why are these guys bad? What is their motives? What are their financial gain? They have many major goals: espionage, hacktivism, crime, all that stuff. So what is the APT? Why is this harmful for us, and how can we avoid this type of thing? So we talked about APTs. I showed real life examples of, like, let's say APT 27 or 23 or 32, all these random names. I believe Microsoft recently just came up with a new name. Tempest, Typhoon, and stuff like that. So again, when it comes to students, man, when cybersecurity, there's a lot of names for one group. They have many different names, whether it's from CrowdStrike, Mendian, or Microsoft. It gets real strange. But make sure students understand, hey, there's digital threats out there. There's in every story, there's a good and bad team. There's a good and bad guy. There's an antagonist and protagonist. As cybersecurity defenders, I assume, and I tell my students, I assume you want to be as cybersecurity defenders. You want to be the good guys. You have to understand the bad guys. You have to understand their motives, their tactics, their techniques. So this is why these lessons are so important and stuff like that. So yeah, Black Girls Hack. Those are the courses I teach. I do help other instructors as well if they do need help with teaching. I helped recently a instructor with her Security Plus class. Helped her out. She didn't have a lesson plan created. Jumped in. Let's get it. Started going in. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do with the teaching side when it comes to Black Girls Hack.
Very cool, man. Like, dude, like you're a dope individual, man. I have to say that. Like, I'm blown away. Like, literally, just because I know you have not been at it that long, and the amount of knowledge that you have, and the things you're talking about, sounds like that you've been in it for like 15 plus years. So that's pretty phenomenal.
The BIT Foundation has established featured partnerships and programs with companies such as Amazon, AT&T, CompTIA, Techstars, and more to provide our members with the resources we want and need to thrive and succeed in this tech ecosystem. To learn more, visit foundation.blacksandtechnology.net. Join now, and remember, membership is free.
Someone wants to get into the world of cybersecurity. What steps would you advise them to take?
Great question. And I wrote many articles regarding this. So right now, the first step, you guys have to understand the market. I learned this in WGU business school. You have to do market research. All right. You can talk to business owners. They're not just going to spin up a random company without doing market research. Hey, we should probably start a sports drink. Okay. Why? What our clients like it? What will be the audience? What will be the buyers? What will be a great market? What will be the competitors? What's the SWOT analysis? So when it comes to cybersecurity, you have to understand the market. Now, as of this recording, 2023, the market is rough. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. There's tech layoffs right now. You have big boy, you have Thing, manga, as people say it. They're being laid off right now. So you have seniors being laid off, fighting for mid-level roles. You got mid-level roles being laid off, fighting for entry-level roles. So now you're competing as an entry-level student, as a graduate, for roles that experienced people qualify for. So the first advice I will give students, understand the market, understand the battle you're going into. Yes, it's going to be difficult. Do not listen to these people online saying, oh, get your Sec Plus, you're going to make 6 figs. That's a lie. These people, I don't know where they're coming from. That's a lie, guys. You need to take your career seriously. And we live in America. Well, we live in America. We know how important it is to have a career to pay your bills, take care of your family. So you need something, as you mentioned, hey, but I'm passionate about, drawing. Well, is drawing going to pay the bills? Probably not. AI might take your job. We don't know. You need to get as Cal Newport said, you need to get career capital, high value skills that the world deems valuable.
Yeah.
So in this case, cybersecurity. Why? Because networks, IoT, they're booming. Businesses need professionals to protect their assets. So the first advice I will give students or aspiring cybersecurity professionals, learn the market, what's going on. Second advice, okay, now I know what's going on. I know the truth, so I won't be disappointed if I don't get a job after 5 applications. Second, you need to build your hard skills. Understand the tools. So spin up a box, home labs, as you mentioned. There's so many gamified platforms, BTLO, Try Hack Me, Hack the Box. So many gamified platforms get hands-on skills. If you can't get experience from getting a job, get that hands-on skills. Now, I do advocate for the candidates in this situation. We have some discrepancy when it comes to cybersecurity jobs. Yes, cybersecurity is not entry level; it's a mid-level role. But when you see these roles, these quote-unquote entry-level roles, 5 years experience, CISP, graduate degree, it really confused candidates. Like, what the heck? How can I get these roles if I need experience? So what I tell it, and it goes back to what you said, you got to be so good they can't ignore you.
Yeah.
My past employers, they took a chance on me. I didn't have experience. I came from customer service for 5 years retail. Why should we take a chance on this kid to protect our network? I had that portfolio. I had that background that was able to convince them, you know what? Bring him on the team. And guess what? I performed. So what I tell candidates and aspiring students, you need to become so good you can't ignore you. If you want to showcase employers that you're down for the cause, you really want to get some certs. There's too many certs. You can go on the Paul Jeremy chart right now, see a whole list of certs to get in cybersecurity. First of all, pick a domain. Cybersecurity is the umbrella word. You want to get a red teaming, penetration testing, blue team, cloud engineering, software. What do you want to get into? Pick a domain, go on Reddit, ask, and this is something Tanisha Martin taught me. If you want to get into a field, go on LinkedIn, find 5 people in that same field, ask for a coffee chat. So you could pick their brain and see how they got in their field, what are the pros and cons, etc. So again, learn the market, get the hard skills, get the trinkets, get the badge. We live in America. America's a credential society. You need these badges to get in. If the role says bachelor's degree, just get one, man. It doesn't expire. You'll have it for life. Get a bachelor's degree. If the role says, hey, we need OSCP, BTO1, get it if you really want to get into the role. After that, now, this is the part people don't talk about. After you get into the field, this is what people don't talk about. Hey, I'm going through fatigue. Many SOC analysts go through what? Alert fatigue. People go through burnout, as we mentioned earlier. How can we stay competitive and make sure we have work-life balance after we get into the field? Well, we have to have boundaries for ourselves. We got to make sure, okay, I'm doing this, and that's it. I'm not going to do anything over my job role and stuff like that. Yes, if I want to get a promotion, I'll go above and beyond. But you're doing what's required of your job role. Do not get into the habit of wearing multiple hats, really, when it's not required of your job role, because it's going to get really nasty and you're going to burn out and all that stuff. So long story short, look at the market, get the required badges, trinkets you need, skills, get into the role. You could network. All right. And check this out. And shout out to Anton Wade. He said, this is a stat, 70% of jobs are blacklisted. They're not even on the public internet. We're fighting for 30% of jobs on Indeed, LinkedIn, Monster. We're fighting for the 30%. What about the 70%? Right. We don't want to talk about that. And you'd be so surprised how networking can get you many jobs and stuff like that. So guys, don't be like me when I was younger, clammed up in my room, playing games, all that, didn't want to talk to a human. Grow some social skills, get some communication skills, speak with people, learn to communicate. You'll be surprised at opportunity. Oh, you're trying to get in cybersecurity? Actually, my company's hiring for a SOC analyst role. You'll be surprised. So those are my tips up front. Yeah.
Nice. So now we're going to get into our lightning round. I'm just going to ask you a series of questions and just, kind of give me your quick answers. All right?
Let's do it.
Cyborg or Tony Stark?
Tony Stark.
Interesting. Okay. What's currently in your playlist?
Yeet. but to be honest, with my playlist, I have Nier Automata OST, and I have some lo-fi songs. That's in my current playlist.
Okay, cool. Tell us 2 things that people may not know about you.
I'm a very given person, and I spend a lot of time reading. Yeah.
I can tell that second one for sure. Red team or blue team?
Blue team all the way.
All right. Hackers the movie, Swordfish, or other?
Hackers the movie, Swordfish, other.
Okay. What would the other kind of hacker movie be for you?
Oh, hacker movie. Damn. I guess you could say Fast 8. I wouldn't consider that a hacking movie, but it has hacking elements.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool, man. Malik, this has been wonderful. I really appreciate, you spending your time with us and telling us about your journey. I think you're wise beyond your years. It sounds like you're very passionate, very motivated, and very dedicated in what you do. So I know you'll go far. Before we get out of here, how can people get in touch with you or follow you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn at Malik Girondin, my first and last name. You can catch me on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel where I post, updates about my life, my journey, and some advice. You can find me on there. Yeah, those are the main 2 places, YouTube and LinkedIn. If you do want to hit me up on Discord, you could do Writerly, WRITERLY . That's my Discord username. And yeah, my 3 main places. I respond to all comments, and I look forward to speaking to you all.
Very, very cool. Thanks once again, Malik. I appreciate your time. And that's it for this episode.
Sweet. Appreciate it, good.
Take care.
Blacks in technology. 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 Blacks in technology.